Hi and welcome to the video. Today's video is to announce workshops over the 2024 fall and 2025 winter term at uOttawa, as well as to give you the introduction to Unity. I'll be showing you how to install Unity, how to start your first project, how to learn the layout, and how to make a simple main menu. If you haven't already installed Unity, you can come here to unity.com/download, come down here, download the version for your device, and then you have to choose a Unity version. Let's go to the archive. I recommend choosing this one, the first one. Whichever one's the first one, might be different depending on what time you're watching this, but whichever one is the latest LTS, which stands for long-term service, meaning that no matter what, they'll still be adding updates to it if there's any bugs or anything. 2023 versions might have slightly newer features, but they also have higher chance of having bugs or issues which could crash your games and stuff. So yeah, I just recommend this first one here in 2022. Here's the Unity Hub, which is where you manage all your projects. This is the list of them. Here's whichever versions you have installed in case you want to switch, or you can even install new versions from here. This is Unity Learn section, which has many more tutorials, especially if you go to their Unity Learn website, which we recommend for learning extra about Unity. And this is their community section, which has things like the asset store, more training, the Unity blog, and even a discussions page. If you have a project, but it's not showing up on the list here, you can do add project from disk, find it, and then you just add the project and it should show up. Now let's create our first project. You'll see you have a lot of templates to work with, like 2D, 3D, the universal, high definition, mobile, even mixed reality and VR, as well as multiplayer. And what those things are, just how different packages that are included when you start up Unity. An important distinction is Unity has three base render pipelines: the built-in pipeline, the universal pipeline, and the high-definition pipeline. The built-in pipeline is the basic pipeline recommended for beginners, so you don't need to customize it all that much. It's good for small projects. The universal pipeline is more customizable, and you can do VFX with it. And the high-definition pipeline is just for 3D projects to make it really realistic, and it also only supports desktop, Xbox, and PlayStation. On the right side here, you can choose your product name. Since we'll be making a main menu, one we just call it main menu. You can choose the location of it. Then let's just create the project. All right, once your project's loaded, you'll be met with this, an empty scene. The scene area, this is where your game objects live. You can move around and stuff. On the left side here, you'll see your hierarchy, which is what has the different parts of your scene. Right now you see you have a camera as well as a light. Or here's your inspector, which is whenever you're on an object, you can see all its different stuff, like its name, layer, all different properties it has and stuff. The tab next to the inspector tab is here, the lighting tab, which lets you do a lot of different settings for how the lighting works for your games and stuff, but that comes later. It's more of a complicated thing. We won't worry about that today. At the bottom left here, you'll see the project tab, which has all your assets for your game and stuff. You'll see the scene folder currently has the only scene you're in, which is the sample scene. You can also see all the built-in Unity packages. And then here you also have the console, which will have any messages that's written up by Unity or any errors in any codes or anything. You also have your animations tab, which is where you create any animations for any objects or anything. Not to be confused with the animator tab, which is where you manage all your animations and like what order they play in, what conditions have to be met in order to play them and stuff. And then here is your game tab, which means anytime you press this plus button, and it starts your game to test it, it'll switch over to this tab, which is where you'll see. You also notice that when you press play, can't for some reason. Also, when you hit play, it doesn't go red. What happened? And whenever you're in play mode, any changes you make to any code or anything, or any objects or anything, they will revert back once you get out of play mode. So just be wary of that. All right, I'll now show you how to make a main menu. To start off, right-click here. You want to add a UI canvas. That's what holds all the UI aspects. And actually, let's go in 2D mode. And if you want to get a full view of the canvas, click on it and then press F. We should zoom in a little. Let's add a background to our cameras. You'll see this. Here, we can just stretch it out. What the camera sees will be all of the whatever's in here. So we can make it stretch fast a little without any worry. Let's change the color a little to a little dark gray or something. Yeah. Right click again. Anytime you need to add something, you right click. We'll go to UI and we'll add a text Mesh Pro. You'll see this, the TMP importer. You'll want to import the essentials. And the TMP extras come with a few extra fonts and documentation on how to modify properly Text Mesh Pro, so you can download that as well. Let's close that. Let's give it a good title. Put it at the top. Call it New Game Title. It's a little small. Why don't we make it a little bigger? Stretch out the zone. And we can change the font size to 96. 96 is pretty good. You can also change the color. You can change its positioning, side, middle, as well as if you want it italics or bold. But it's actually like dark, contrasty red. Then we'll add our buttons, start, options, and exit button. And here to button. Make that a little bigger too. To modify the text, come down here. Text. Stunt. To a 60. You change what color it is for the button, but also this will be its normal color. Whenever you hover over it, will be the highlighted color. When it's pressed, it'll be this color. And when it's disabled, like when you can code it so you can't press the button, it would be this color. So say when it's highlighted, we want it to be yellow. And when it's pressed, we want it to be green. Now if we run that, when we hover over it, you'll see it goes yellow. When we click on it, it's green. You can also change the name if you don't want to get confused later down the line. We'll call it the start button. Why don't we duplicate that twice? Name the first one the options button. Last one, the quit button. To move them, we'll introduce that. Out there. That one. They don't have to be in the middle of the screen. Just, we'll start off with that. Change the text. Options. Quit. Now we want something to hold our code and call it for when we click the buttons. So we'll create an empty and we'll call it the Seeing Manager. I can type. And then what we'll do is on it, we'll add a component and we'll call it menu. You'll see an option for new script pops up. This will be the script name. To create an ad. Now, if you go to assets, you'll see your menu scene. And if you double click it, you'll open up Visual Studios. If you don't already have it, make sure to download Visual Studios, as that's what you do your coding in for Unity. Just start menu. We don't need to have an update. No worries, start. What we do need to add, we got some space here. Just we'll be using Unity Engine dot Scene Management. And then we come down here and we want to have our three buttons. So our first one will be a public void, and then we'll call it on click start. Doesn't really matter what you call any of your functions, but it makes it easier to organize them. And braces, and then what you write is you write scene manager dot load scene 1. For settings, we'll do public void on flick settings, then set, and then you do as well your parentheses and then your brackets, and you're going to do scene manager dot load scene 2. And then for quit, it's a little bit different. You'll also do a on click quit, but in the curly braces, you'll want to put application.quit. Now, when you're actually running it in the Unity editor, it won't make a difference. It won't do anything. But when you're actually running your actual game, it'll quit the game for you. Then you'll do Control S to save it. See if there's a star up here, it means it hasn't been saved since the last modification. And we'll go back to game. You'll see it's loaded our script. All right. Once it's loaded, you can go to Start button. You'll scroll down. You'll add an on-click event, which means whenever it's clicked, it'll run through anything that's in this list. You'll want to drag your scene manager over it. See it load. Then you'll go here to where it says no function, down to our menu, and you want to find the on-click start. And then you do the same thing for your other 2 buttons. The menu one, do settings. And the quit one, do quit. Now, before you run your game and test it, we need to come up here to File. We need to go to the Build settings. And you'll see there's no scenes in Build. If you add open scenes, your menu scene will be scene 0. And as you know, we made it so that once you press start, it goes to scene 1. And when you click on the settings, you go to scene 2, which means we need to add 2 new scenes. All right, then to add our scenes, we'll go to the Scene tab. We'll create a new scene. We'll call this one Game. And then we'll create another scene. And we'll call it Settings. You don't need to put your settings in a separate scene, but just, I find it easier to have them at separate pages, but you don't have to. So you see here, in either ones, we don't have anything in it. For our settings scene, we'll do another UI canvas. You'll add another image. Generally, I would make it maybe similar to the last image in color, but you know, depending on the style of your game, it doesn't have to be. And here you can add any settings you'd like for volume or sensitivity of the mouse and stuff, but we'll cover that on a later workshop. We'll just make a button to go back to the main menu. So I want to add a button. Call it back. And then we'll want to create another empty game manager. We can even use the same menu code. And what we'll do is we'll go and modify that code, and we'll add another public void on click back. And what we'll do is we'll do it so it loads the 0 scene, which is our first scene, our menu scene. Save it. Go back to Unity. Then once we load, we'll test it out. You can do the same thing as for the other buttons. You'll add your on-click event. Scene manager. It's going to be in the same area. We'll do on-click back. Once you have it on this, we'll need to add this scene and our game scene back in the build settings. Just see scenes and build. We'll go back. We'll have to open our game scene since we set that one to scene 1. To file, build settings, add open scenes. Then we'll go back to our settings scene, file, build settings, and add open scene. Now we have our 3 current scenes. Go to our main menu. Should be able to test it out properly. If you click options, it brings you to the settings page. You click back to go back. When you click start, it goes to your game. And that's how you make a simple main menu. Didn't have too much code to it. Pretty simple for your first time, but yeah, you can play around with it. Make it look all fancy and stuff. I'm not that good at art, but we'll see. Yeah. Thank you for watching the workshop. All our workshops from here on out are going to be in person, but there's also going to be a video later on for those who can't make it. Check the GDC's Discord or Instagram for updates. And thanks for watching.